That means that they start at a base RNG of 0. And that's going to come into play quite a bit. These players are going to try and play the game as perfectly as possible. And as long as that happens, everything should go well. It sounds easy enough. You know, play perfect, win. But Chrono Trigger might try and stop them.
We shall see, we shall see. Did Redslash actually delete? Redslash is known for not deleting his save files. He tries to usually just like new game perfectly.
Yeah.
I didn't see it though.
And that's something that I guess kind of ties into how the RNG in this game works, which I guess I'll touch on since there's not too much going on here. You're going to see a quick menu, and they're going to go to Battle Speed 1, Battle Cursor to Memory, and we might see agreed upon text box switching between the two. It costs time in an actual speed run, but at the same time, if you and your opponent do it, you know, gentleman's agreement, I guess.
Indeed.
Redslash didn't fumble this menu. The RNG in this game basically has two values, your battle value and your crit value. The crit value only ever increments by 1. The battle value can increment by 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, it depends on what's happening. But the battle value will always sort of jump to a specific value based on what window you're in at the beginning of every fight. So essentially, there's only 16 possible starts to every fight in the game. If you want to break it down in 16 different windows to get each of those starts. The crit value just moves ahead 1 by 1, and it's only called upon for a regular, normal attack by a player. So, for example, if you've got a bunch of crits from like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it doesn't really matter who attacks. For base crits, everyone's going to get a crit based on where it is on there. And certain battles it just doesn't matter because you're using text or something, but on battles where it does matter, your crit value needs to be exactly right. So that means that the battle beforehand needs to be exactly right too. You can also manipulate enemy AI and a couple other small but important things. And it saves a whole bunch of time, less attacks, less healing. Play perfect, win.
Indeed. And yeah, to start off here, we already got our first little small skip from Redslash here. So Redslash is going to be seemingly multiple seconds ahead here because he skipped the candy cutscene at the start here. However, this does save time, but it's not as much as it seems right now, because when Redslash comes back from the past, you will have to still watch the cutscene. It still saves a second though to get the skip, so that's don't be fooled by the difference in time right now. They are still essentially tied.
Yeah, this game is so execution heavy. It can be a little intimidating, but it's also very rewarding at the same time. There's going to be a lot of micro movement, especially with players of this caliber here, which are going to save frames here and there. Like even how you pick up this pendant on the teleporter, you can save frames based on how you move before you pick it up. So you see Kehanort grabbed it and he was a little bit more to the right. So after he moved up, he didn't have to move to the right, whereas Redslash was a little bit further left. So after he moved up and got to the right value, he had to move right.
Good advice, Jerry. Good advice. Alright, so DD has been talking about it quite a bit, and we're about to see the first part of manipulating certain things. This one is a bit tough to get, but it's really relatively straightforward. These blue imps, if you attack them in a certain order, they won't attack you, so... just a little bit tight inputs here, but there you go. Redslash doing it perfectly.
And yeah, he had multiple crits there, so it looks like he forced himself into the right window by mashing, which is a pretty small window to get, but if you want to keep your save files, it is possible to do so and still end up for like the right RNG for a run. The main
Classic
thing is,
Redslash.
yeah, the guy knows so much tech that it's just ridiculous.
That was a bit of a risky brisket there by Kehanort, but he gets it no less. Very important to skip this bird battle. Is a 2-pixel window, I believe, to skip that bird. And yeah, if you don't and get into the battle, well, your RNG, like DD explained earlier, your RNG will be all messed up now. You can recover it, but it will cost you time to do so.
Yeah, it's actually pretty lucky here that the RNG that we're aiming for all at the beginning here is to reduce the number of slow spells in the Nega-Et fight in the next about 2 minutes here to 0, because the spell just takes forever for it to cast, and it also affects your character's turns and how quickly they come up. And that window is actually a little bit later, and if you're in the correct window, you can just perform a couple actions which will increase the RNG into the later window. But if you get in the bird fight, you can just fight every fight normally and hold X and attack everything on the first frame, and you'll still end up in the right window for the Nega-Ets. Because you've progressed it to that next window by failing the skip. It's actually weird. Back in the day, in the second fight in the forest coming up here, we used to just wait on the screen, and as the enemies wandered around, they would increment the RNG a little bit so that we would end up in the right window. And now that we use the overkill, it's a lot more streamlined.
Yeah.
Like these first couple of fights have been rerouted so many times, it's kind of ridiculous. But every time it's just like, hey, I saved 4 seconds here. Hey, I saved a second here.
Alright, we'll receive our lesson in how time travel works, though, and the whole time traveling shebang, how it affects people.
Yeah, so this is Back to the Future rules, right?
Yep.
If you go back in time, don't talk to your parents.
Yep. Don't do it. It's bad for you.
Oh, did I see people talking about Dragon Tank on active ATB? Yeah.
Free, dude. Alright. Moving out to the forest, and yeah, I mean, we're speedrunning here, of course, but DD already mentioned we were going to be going into the forest and actually fight things. The main purpose for that, obviously, the battle that we also alluded to in the cathedral that's coming up after this, well, the enemies there not only have nasty attacks, they also have pretty high physical defense. So in order to break through that, we do need to learn the first tech for Luca here, which is Flame Toss, and in return we also get Fire Whirl as a dual tech for both of them, which will be quite handy to get rid of those Nega-Ets. Turns out that, yeah, this little bit of grinding actually saves a substantial amount of time.
Yeah. Actually be pretty crazy to find a way to skip this. It's just so important for like the later parts in the run too.
Yeah, I've said it last time I commentated, like I have never tried to fight the Nega-Ets like with only physical attacks, but man, I dare somebody to try.
I'd almost say the levels are more important than the techs.
Probably at this point, yeah. Because like you would end up being level 1 for Dragon. I mean, not quite that bad, but yeah. Alright, we see Redslash with a little bit side movement to the side there and then going back. The pin is, by the way, don't have to talk to the nun. You can always just like click on it and it will be there. But the movement was very specific in order to position himself so that he wastes the least amount of time for the characters to group themselves up there. And this is the aforementioned Nagad fight, and if everything goes ideal and we're on the right RNG, we'll do a Fire Whirl, 3 of them die, we get attacked once, and then Flame Toss, and then it's over. Nice and easy.
Yeah. Also, a little small tech to note is you could actually mash the Flame Toss, and it would kill the 3 on the right, and Chrono would get attacked, and there still wouldn't be a slow spell, but when Luca casts her Flame Toss, the animation is longer to shoot across the screen than the one that's closer to her. So we take like
Indeed.
a couple frames to select the other ones, but we save time overall.
Yep. Additionally, I discovered that if you leave the left one, like Luca's ATB won't actually pop up immediately when it's full. It's really annoying. That's just as a side note. I don't know why that is, but yeah. That's something I discovered when I accidentally didn't target the right nuggets. I don't know why that happened.
Yeah, sometimes the game will eat your input. Doesn't happen too often. I think it's more likely to happen in the Japanese version.
Alright, so we're past the Nagats and we're going to move through this cathedral. The basic goal here is there's a couple of treasure chests that we're going to pick up, and they are basically basic equipment, Redslash picking up a power tap here, which seemed a bit weird to somebody who might have not seen this game before. What he did there is he activated the screen transition. We're going to be able to see it on Kehanort's screen here. And then they go into the menu to restart the screen transition while still moving, and that's called the fade out glitch. So what you can do with that is, for instance, you can pick up stuff like the power tab there, which usually has this little fanfare that you got it, but if you do it with the fade out, then, well, you don't get the fanfare. So that's a small little time save in this particular instance there, because, you know, unless you do these fade outs ideal, you won't save a lot of time over just picking up the power tab and leaving. So Kehanort's one looked really solid. Redslash had a little bit of trouble at the start there, but shouldn't be too big a deal. And they are already coming up to the next fight here, which, fortunately, the Diablos, they have 50 HP, but since the RNG lands up just right, Frog will get 2 crits here and get rid of those. Nice and easy.
Yeah, and that's going to be the end of this particular RNG string, because we're going to see save and reload coming up soon, thanks to the fade out glitch and another glitch that's coming up as well. Indeed.
So this fade out, you can not only use that to activate objects, you can also, you know, there's these little save points in this game. Most annoying thing about the game, by the way, are the save points. But that's just my personal opinion there. You can stand on them and then you can save. Now, if you push the fade out glitch on, and you push yourself onto the save point while you're doing the screen transition, the game will still think that you're on the save point in the next room. So what you can do is literally save anywhere in that instance, because the game thinks you're permanently on the save point. And that will let us do some magic for the next boss. If you watch the menus, you also see that through some magic, they unequip their armor, actually, on Luca, which you're not supposed to be able to do, but by... if you have no armor in your inventory, and by going to the accessory slot from Chrono, we did pick up the power glove earlier, so we can definitely switch our accessories. If you go from Chrono's accessory slot to and press R and up at the same time, it will still think that you're on the accessory slot, but you'll end up on Luca's armor slot, actually. So you're actually able to circumvent the lockout for the armor, and you can unequip it. And what that does is, if you unequip your armor, gives you resistance against the lightning, ice, and shadow. And does, in the US version, very important, also give you a magic boost by 10 per item per armor slot. So by unequipping Luca, she gets 20 more magic for free, even though it's not displayed.
Doubles her damage output, essentially. It's kind of insane.
Hey, oh yeah, we skipped the boss as well, by the way, which, you know, no big deal, right? So...
Yeah. There's a lot that just happened right there. It might not look like it, but like I said, this run is very, very well optimized. There's a lot of times where we just don't heal at all for long stretches because you don't have to. You know that you're not going to get hit. But it also means that if you mess up, things might be a little bit more on the edge. I really like the red text box on Redslash's side.
I'm not a fan, honestly.
No?
No. I was never a fan of most of the text box. I don't know. In this game, like I like the classic one from Kehanort. That one is okay to me, but all the others like is kind of eh.
Yeah, the black one looks really weird on a CRT. Frog skip, awesome.
So yeah, again, both runners seem. It seems like Redslash has a solid lead here, but that's just like we're coming back to the present very soon here, and that's where things will be equalized again because he still has to watch or wait for the candy. Before that, though, the safe anywhere glitch we picked up in the cathedral. As long as you don't enter another screen with a save point, you will retain... Oh, very nice. Very nice. Very nice reverse bird skip there.
Yeah.
You will retain the safe anywhere status until you do. So, like, until you enter a screen with another save point, you will have the safe anywhere glitch active. So we can carry it here, and by saving and reloading here at the Truce Canyon, we can actually despawn in the right position, I should say. Because if you save too low, you will not despawn the Poly and Green Imp encounter, but they are saving in a decent spot there, despawning that encounter, and instead we get the bird when we reload, so we can do what we call the reverse bird skip at that point and skip a fight entirely. Now, another purpose of this reload as well is, and why it's actually saving time to do this, you do have to be on a specific RNG in order to be set up for the prison section that's coming up, and they do have to do a very specific reload in a very specific window here in order to attain that, essentially.
I remember before reverse bird skip, the bash load for the Yakra skip would be fine because you could get to the into the bird fight and just run away. And it would set you up correctly for the RNG as well.
So yeah, here you go. Red has to watch the candy cutscene now, and just like that... Oh, Red! No. Gotta wait! Come on, talk. Jesus, Red, you're sleeping. Wasting precious time here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was. I'm not sure if he was just laughing, or...
I think he just fell from his chair, probably. That's a lot of time lost, though. We see Kehanort actually taking it a pretty convincing lead here at the start. This is more than 10 seconds at this point, which that's a lot in this game, especially for runners on this level. But fortunately, we get RNG coming up to equalize everything. Don't worry about it. So, as much as we can manipulate everything in this game, there is still things that, you know, are frame-based, and frame-based stuff in RPGs is especially bad, because there is not really a good way of making sure to, you know, hit those specific frames. Such as this trial.
One of these days it'll happen. Reverse slime manip.
Oh my lord. Whoa. Shudder.
Yeah. 8 seconds is quite a bit, though. It's just
It is.
It just sucks.
Alright, so we're going to get put on trial here, and it's pretty straightforward. You do want to... You will get 2 questions asked here, and you do want to always put the second answer in, which, you know, saves the most amount of time in text boxes. The problem is, whether you're guilty or not guilty depends on what you do on the fair and all that. Since we're speedrunning, we didn't really do anything. So, like, it's just kind of like, okay, it's pretty much 6 jurors are always going to be divided 50-50. Then there's the 7th one. And the 7th one, unfortunately, with what we do in the speedrun, is sort of random. It's about a 50-50 split whether he's going to be saying guilty or not guilty. We actually want to be guilty because that will save us a lot of time because we get like less text box in the overall.
Darn Pierre, Ace Attorney.
Objection. But yeah, if we get guilty, we save about, I believe, 6 seconds, roughly, just through text boxes. It's pretty silly. And unfortunately, it's random. So the second one here, the second juror coming up for Kehanort, will decide his fate. And he gets guilty.
He's gonna clinch that lead no matter what.
Gee, alright. Saving all that time. Redslash is not
falling up behind.
Yeah.
I like it. Bit fair.
We got 2 speedruns here.
Yep.
Alright. So I believe the spread for the second juror is... It's like something silly, like 53% not guilty.
Yeah.
47% guilty. Something silly like that. It's really, really silly. And it's frame-based, essentially. So, like, yeah. Just gotta hit the right frame in order to get guilty.
Yeah, the RNG table is pretty cool if you think about it, because like pretty much anything, like the slimes, the not guilty, what barriers you get on Magus, it's all running off the same table, and the way that it's distributed is actually pretty even. When you look at the juror, and it's actually like 53-47. It's like almost evenly distributed, but not quite, because when you look at the first 60 values, which are really the only things that it'll look at since it's frame based, it's really 255 values is the whole table. So whether you look at it as like 1 in 60 or 1 in 100 or 1 in 255, it still keeps a pretty even, like 50-50 ratio of the numbers that it could give you.
Yeah, since both got guilty, we don't get any extra text boxes, and it will seem like the song ends, or, the transition starts prematurely. That's pretty much all the time we save.
Are we going to see a safety save?
Probably. Kehanort, it's said in chat he has a bad feeling, so... he's going for it. He's going for it.
I know Redslash knows a backup if he gets into one guard fight anyway.
What a beast.
Yeah. I think it's actually on the wiki, but I think it might only be on like the no LSS or 100% wiki or something. Yeah, it has a kill head first Dragon Tank fight and everything.
Alright, so this Cyclone essentially determines for us, and there's a 53.
No tabs.
Yeah, so the Cyclone determines, or it doesn't determine, it shows us whether we are on the right RNG or not, and we want damage of 60, which Redslash got, and yeah, Kehanort apparently forgot to...
Is he going to use them? That's kind of the other question.
I mean, maybe he just thought he was on low damage, I don't know. But yeah, Kehanort definitely not on RNG anymore. And that is actually terrible, because not only will the next part be off RNG, the whole future segment is also messed up, which, nice guard pattern though for him there, for the first one. Whoa! Alright. Slow down there, buddy. I would not have just gone for it like that. Gee,
that was
okay.
Crazy.
Yeah, I think he knows he's losing time, so he's gonna make it up somewhere, and that's a good place to make up some time. That was very bold of him. Very bold. Okay, there we go. There we go. Alright. So, unfortunately, his RNG is going to be off slightly only, but it's going to be off. He should still get 1 crit at the start. I'm not sure what the backup script is for this.
Yeah. I think, actually, I don't know with just the extra attack. I'm not sure the backup
Me
script is
neither.
either.
Me neither.
But he can rely on the triple fire whirl and leverage Luca's unequip magic damage boost over Chrono's critical boost, which Redslash is going to do. And I'm seeing in chat that Redslash got not guilty. Did he talk to like Marley before the pendant or something?
Oh, you know what? Of course, because he ran away from the candy cutscene. Duh!
Oh.
Because then the jurors go all like, haha, you tried to pull her away here, you know?
Depriving the princess of candy.
Alright, so on Redslash side, we will see a perfectly manipulated fight. Kehanort does need to wing it a little bit, but... nice critical. Seems like he doesn't know what he's doing, at least. Seems pretty damn solid, if you ask me, yeah. Redslash will catch up considerably here, though. In fact, he will overtake Kehanort by a lot.
Yeah.
Unless Kehanort somehow ends up on, like, 10 million crits for Chrono here, but...
yeah, he's only 1 value deeper, or 1 or 2 values deeper. It's hard to say. Thing is, there is 1 crit in there that would normally be a Luca crit, but if Chrono was the one that attacked, he unfortunately doesn't get that crit. Female characters in this game have a higher crit chance. Just naturally.
Alright, so Redslash taking the perfect fight, still in RNG. So, like, the problem is that not only is Kehanort losing time here right now, which he basically played it perfectly, honestly. Can't really do much else than what he's doing. The problem is that for the next segment, he's also going to be off RNG, which there's two fights in there where that actually matters quite a bit, and where he will also lose time. So that puts him behind by a little bit already. There we go, Kehanort's out there.
Yeah.
Still sub 28 without manip. That's pretty damn solid.
Yeah, there was no extra fights. It's just the fights weren't as efficient. There's still a chance that he could get okay RNG for the next couple fights and not lose too much time. He is down 1 mid-ether. You don't really need the other one, but... there's a backup one just before Johnny if it comes down to it.
Oh, yeah, there's like plenty mid-ethers in this game, so yeah. I wouldn't worry about it.
But these guys aren't so far apart that a slime fight might even things out again.
Oh yeah, this is definitely... the other day in your race we saw that Ottavino got really epic owned by Dragon Tank and lost a lot of time. Right? And this is still perfectly fine, honestly. Like, nothing set in stone quite yet.
Alright, so we're gonna just hop into this random portal. Where does it take us? Takes us to the what face.
Am I imagining this, or is Kehanort's power flicking sometimes? Man, scary.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure if that's like OBS keyframe thing, or
maybe. All right, so coming up to lap 16 here.
Perfect.
Yeah. So lap 16 is quite the interesting area because it's one of the few that has these, well, rats running around or enemies running around that will not actually attack you, but rather steal from you. Whenever a rat steals something from you, they will steal tonics. But if you don't have tonics, they will steal money. When they do, though, there's this text box popping up that they stole something from you. And as long as that's up, you can just run through encounter triggers without actually worrying about it. So what we do in a speedrun is we actually purposefully run into a couple of these rats just to be make our path through this a lot faster.
Yeah, Kehanort did the double rat steal. It's a lot more consistent. But you do get stolen from more. In this category, it doesn't really matter. So I guess the double rat steal is probably a really smart play.
He got into the mutant fight.
Not as costly as if he was not already off RNG, I guess.
Yeah. Still waste a little bit of time, but...
Yeah. Yeah, I've been seeing players cut that fight pretty tightly, actually, all tournament.
Yeah, there's about a 1 in 8 chance if you do it as tight as you can that you get into that encounter. So even though, you know, he cut it tight, it's still very unlucky to actually get into that encounter. Well, Redslash already skipping over the next boss. Yeah. It's happening too fast.
Was that even a boss?
I don't know. There were like alarm sounds and stuff, so I assume there was a boss fight, but I don't actually know. Never seen that guy.
But I thought if you open your menu in that room, you got in a fight.
Do you? Well, actually, you kind of do. At least that's what the developers intended. But what they didn't think about is that you know, you might actually rebind your controls, and the runners did that at the start of the run. So what they did is they implemented so that if you press X in the room that Kehanort is just in, you will actually get into a random encounter because, you know, the sirens are going and they thought, hey, if they go into the menu, we set a little trap because, you know, they want to heal and stuff, but we're going to screw the player over. If you bind menu to another button, though, you can still open the menu, no problem at all, because, you know...
Oh my god. Redslash is going crazy here. All of those cycles that he just made in the previous room are very, very tight. Saves like a quarter to like half a second. Maybe a little bit more. But they're very tight cycles to hit.
Putting the pressure on Kehanort here. I like it. I like it. I'm pretty sure both runners are actually watching the stream as well, because they're in chat, so like, the mind games are real.
Alright, so Redslash did a fade-out glitch at the beginning of this room to skip almost a minute and a half worth of cutscenes. The animation of the Day of Lavos. Oh, Kehanort with the top bug cycle too. These runners, man.
Kehanort's like, you can't make me afraid, dude. I got this. I got this, bro.
Kehanort got stuck there for a little bit on the screen. The screen has so many like catchy corners that'll just get you stuck for, you know, half a second, quarter second here and there. The quick rat cycle from Redslash 2.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah, generally you need to wait for that last rat to go by, but if you're just quick enough, you can make it in between the two rats, even like in between them on the close side, not the far side.
The funny thing is, if you're too fast, you can't actually do it.
Yeah,
that's what I noticed in practice, which is irritating, but yeah.
I found with like trying to go for that stuff, it's all about how much you grind and not grind on the stairs.
Pretty much, yeah.
I guess we can sort of mention that when you're moving on staircases, you really want to move diagonally. Otherwise, you're kind of running into a wall, and the wall is pushing you, and that's your actual movement, and that's slower than just natural movement. And it's really hard to do precisely so that you don't get caught on a corner or hit something the wrong way.
It's the man. But you can call him Johnny.
In a conversation with Redslash once, he was like, I've been grinding trying to get the perfect Johnny race. And I mean, there's not much more to that story than that, and it's kind of crazy. You want to bounce on the front of him as much as you can without sacrificing the safety of completing the race. So it just means, you know, make sure that you can cross the finish line in the last 100 rests or so.
Yeah. The hard part about Johnny is really, Johnny reads your inputs, so like he knows where you're going. And he will react according to what where you're going. Very nice race from Redslash. 19. 19 is pretty damn good. I don't know what the max score is, something 2.2, 2.3-ish. I don't know.
I'm bad at the Johnny race. I'm happy with over 1,000 generally.
My best was 1900. So
yeah, that's a crazy score. I think Red's best is like 22 or 23.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like he's like ultimate, so much better. If you lose this race, by the way, which you should not, then
Redslash almost having Chrono die there.
You have to race again. It was for me. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Red is actually Johnny. Alright, Kehanort taking it safe here at the end. Very nice.
Redslash doing another movement there. It looked like he lost time by running past Robo, but that cutscene doesn't start until Marley is right in front of Robo. So by having her trail and be in front of Robo when he talks to him, it speeds the beginning of that cutscene up quite a bit.
Early shelter from Kehanort. Probably a very smart idea. No crit. Baby Rage. So Kehanort losing time in this very battle because he's off RNG, doesn't get the crits like he wants to, unfortunately.
Yeah. And Marley's not really attacking the right person either. Luca's not going to be able to... Oh, nice. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, he got a good damage roll on the right one. Alright, virtual high five right here.
Everyone's getting rickrolled. I'm so sorry, audience, but it's
oh, we got
game.
Bobo. We got Bobo. Oh no. Isn't Bobo cursed? Like a cursed name in this tournament or something? I don't know. Or was it the combination of it was the combination of no for Chrono and Bobo, I think. So I think Red is still good.
Something like that, yeah, like Nobo.
Yeah.
It's one of the funny things in races. You only get one shot to rename characters. Every now and then, you end up like if you're doing like a full game race or something, you end up with like Agus.
Yeah. Since Red is still on the manipulation here, or on the right RNG, he got that fantastic 10 damage crit on the acid there. Kehanort's not going to be that lucky, probably. I mean, I never want to rule that out, but you know, probably not gonna be that lucky. The problem with these slimes that we're seeing here is that the acids, which are the red ones, they have 10 HP and really high defense. The alkalines, the green ones, have 9 HP. Not so high defense, but still,
It's
you
still
know,
really high comparatively.
Yeah, comparatively still very high. And the biggest issue with that is that we just entered the room here on Redslash side, and when you enter the room, it sets up, or it determines the formation you're going to get after you talk to the terminal here. So, I mean, effectively also a random thing we can control-ish. Ideally, you want to see 5 green slimes here, but this is kind of a terrible formation, because the problem with these red and greens is if they're close to each other, very nice, and you don't kill them and attack them, they will do a counter attack. So there we go.
Yeah, it seems like it's what, about 60-70% chance that a rocket punch will kill one of those guys.
I'd say it's even higher. Honestly, I usually see rocket punches scaling. It's between 7 to like 12 damage or something. I don't know. Very nice cyclone there. Okay, they're lining up for Redslash at least.
If only he had the slash attack.
Oh man, that'd be fantastic. Unfortunately, slash costs like something silly like 70 tech points.
Yeah. The game kind of expects you to fight everything, and we've skipped over pretty much all of it.
Yeah. This would be a place where Kehanort can make up some pretty good time, especially if Redslash keeps running the ones.
5 greens, let's go.
Boom. That's a better formation. It's the same one, but the greens are on the left, so like they're not that close yet. Very nice cyclone there.
When you can always match that first cyclone and know it's going to hit the bottom 3. And with a formation like this, it's really nice, so you don't really lose much time fumbling in your menus, like Redslash did, waiting for Robo's turn and then going to rocket punch.
He's getting attacked a lot though, unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, Redslash battle. Excuse me. Redslash battle music looped twice, and that's where you know, okay, my slime fight was probably not that great. Unfortunately, I can't see it being any better for Kehanort at this point.
He's getting a lot of real low rolls here. This is pretty rough.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the ones.
Oh, that is a 4.
Yeah, might as well go for the cyclones if you can. That was good.
Yeah. Nice 6, yeah. Good ending, but the start of the fight was probably... I would say they were probably both even in the battles, roughly. Kehanort had a very good ending there. Redslash had a good start to the battle, but then, you know, both seem to have trouble on the other ends.
Redslash getting pretty close and personal with these R series. He just wants to see how they work. Yeah, this is kind of a bit of a play around time. You can do some funky stuff with the bots if you like push into them, and you know, it's mostly going to cost you a frame or two here if you go for it. There's a couple interesting tasks that do some very strange stuff in this cutscene, including skipping the fight. So if there was some way that we could swap Chrono out of first party place here, we could actually just run through this fight and not get pushed back.
That sounds easy to me.
Yeah, I'd put a bounty out there if someone can make that RTA viable, R series skip.
The reason we would want to skip this boss, other than, you know, it would save us time, obviously. This is actually kind of a tough boss fight, because your timing on these cyclones, especially the first one, has to be perfect, essentially. The problem is that this fight, we can't really manipulate it reasonably, because the 5 slime fight beforehand was random, as we said. So, in order to have a consistent fight here, your first cyclone needs to come in before they start attacking you. Otherwise, you can end up in a world of hurt here. And even with that, you see Redslash will still heal here just for safety, because he got hit 3 times on Chrono.
Having that much before Luca's turn is actually up. Those were like very, very quick cyclones there. Never gonna skip these 3 punches, but shouldn't see any more attacks.
Yeah. So like if he did... No, go ahead. Sorry.
Just saying we're setting Luca to Flame Toss memory. It's going to be very important later on. There's a chance that we might not have to use a Flame Toss in the next fight, and if we don't get a chance to set it there, the next time we use Luca is a Mash Fire attack. So we got to make sure she's set to that. Potentially, I guess. It depends on your load for the Mesamune. Sad robot music. Looks like Kehanort's got pretty much the same luck. Chrono getting hit by everything. Ooh. Getting that extra attack, though.
Yeah. This is why you heal. Alright, so Redslash is entering the end of time while Kehanort finished up the R series. Fortunately, from here on out, the RNG that Kehanort lost earlier doesn't matter anymore because we have to save and reload soon anyways. At the end of time, we're going to learn some magic. Not going to be too difficult, and from there, we're going back into the present in order to recover the well, go get back to the fair, to the gate that is over there.
Won't be difficult. You're underestimating Specchio here.
I mean...
Look at him, he's an innocent frog, but he'll cost you time.
I mean...
Obviously, I don't want it to happen. But, Redslash is going to be cutting this cutscene, well, this mini-game, I guess, where you run around the room really quickly. He knows how to cut it, so it's the minimum amount of movement. And it looks like you're just missing everything. It's scary.
Of course. Yeah, there are certain points that you have to touch instead of, like, actually, you know, running around the wall. So there's like 4 points in the corners, I believe, and then there is one in the door. And those you just have to touch, essentially, in the right order 3 times in a row, and then you good. Got the Specchio skip. Easy.
If you want to see it for yourself, there's a couple tools that you can get on the Chrono Speedrun wiki site. One of them is the practice ROM, where it'll actually visualize where you need to touch for you, which is really, really helpful when you want to practice and get quicker at it. There's also an overlay that you can put on your emulator, which will also show the same triggers, just visualized slightly differently.
Alright, very small minor tech thing there. So what Redslash did there in order to escape that cutscene, he ate the cake, and then once you do that, you can actually go into the menu, switch characters, and then you keep sliding. Because the game, whenever you switch characters in this game, essentially, you can just keep moving no matter what happened, like after you switch. So if you get paralyzed, for instance, for eating the cake, and then switch characters, the game will allow you, hey, to move after that. And it retains that status throughout the dialogue that the imps have with you. So we call that whole thing cake and dash.
Red's been grabbing a lot of extra ethers here. He grabbed the one at the very beginning, which is fine. It's kind of a safety if you accidentally have to use a bunch of cyclones and to give you MP for R series.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure what the second one there is for.
Obviously going for full game run. Duh.
Yep. Yeah, he's just gonna win the race, get a PB, go for world record. Have it all.
Very interesting place to swap your characters. So we used the fade out glitch there to skip an encounter, and that is very untypical.
Yeah. Using corner push, sort of similar to the bird skip, but it's a pretty big window, so you can normally just hit it moving. But it looks like he was just a smidge off.
Yeah, if you press down too late, or even like slightly touch left or right there in the wrong position, then it won't work. Also didn't switch the characters properly. What's going on here, Red? What's going on? Got the Hecarim skip first try. That looked very easy. So what we do here, there's a boss called Hecarim, and we can get the save anywhere glitch in the room before with the fade out, obviously. And then if we save at the very right position there, we can just skip over the trigger essentially. It looks very easy. Like, yeah, how would somebody ever miss that? But it's not as easy as it looks. The problem is that the trigger is in a very specific spot, and you do need to save in a very, very specific spot in order to actually get over it, essentially. So what you have to do is you have to release the B button to walk for it just a tiny little bit, very slightly, at the start, and then run, and then, of course, open the menu at the right point, and then save and reload. Again, it looks a lot easier than it actually is. If you learn this, you'll have a lot of frustration in the first 30 minutes, I can tell you that much.
Yep. I feel like if you're a musician, you might actually have a little bit better luck with it, because it's very much like timing based.
Definitely, yeah. Alright, Kehanort coming up to the Hecarim skip here. That didn't look... Well, it could have been it, but...
A little low, but
yeah.
Scream leg, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say it was low too, but yeah, he got it. Both Garners first try, so that's very nice.
Yeah.
And we're going to see another big thing on Red's stream here. Hopefully.
Yep.
Alright, there we go. This is what we call the end of time save anywhere, so usually you are not supposed to be able to activate a gate and then still go onto the save point. It will paralyze you if you activate a gate. But with the help of a couple of tricks, we can actually make it happen. One of it is involving that we you can talk to Gaspar, and then normally it will just cancel out the text box that he has once you get close to the gates. But if you open the menu while the text box is closing, you can retain the text box and then store gates behind that text box. So then effectively pulling them back to the area where Gaspar is in. And that's the first part of how that works. The second part is a bit more difficult. So in order to be able to actually still open the menu, first of all, your characters, your second and the third party member, need to be in a little bit of a different position as they should be. Otherwise, it won't actually kind of work, because you will team up after you talk to the healing node here. Yeah, I'm kind of scared for Kehanort here. You need to have a certain distance to your party members for the team up. Otherwise, the game would lock you out of the menu by default. And then there's a component where if you press the A button on the wrong frame here, 25% of the frames will also lock you out of the menu. So that's why you see the runner's pause buffer there. They can identify the correct frames by checking the text. Like, they know on which letter they have a good frame. So when they unpause, they effectively press start and A at the same time to hit the right frame.
Yeah, that's relatively new now. It used to just be a 75% crapshoot.
Yeah, I suppose. So the reason we do it here, we used to do it in the Cathedral in order to get the save anywhere glitch for this next skip that Red is just doing. Works very similar to the Hecarim skip, actually missing the second part. I am disappointed. Disappointed. It's still going to be a 55 number, but man, still disappointed. Very disappointed. Very disappointed. Oh my god, he's choking! He's choking! Who is this Redslash guy? Oh, no, he's just messing with us, dude.
I'm not even sure if that was right.
No, it wasn't. Probably not.
No, he knows it.
So, again, it works very similar to the Hecarim skip, where you have to release the B button for a very short amount of time in order to get into the right position to actually be able to skip over the trigger. Both parts work like that. The first part is a bit more difficult because you have to have it released a little bit longer than for the second part. The second part is a pretty easy one, in my opinion, but, you know, sometimes it just happens that, you know, you get to the skip and then your timing is just off in your head for no reason. It happens to me too. Like,
shot.
Wrong menu though, because he didn't use the tabs. There you go. Duh. Commentator curse? Well, what curse? Hello? I mean, you can't blame me for that, dude. Come on. That was on purpose.
Yeah, Kehanort just nails it, saves over. He's confident. He knows it. He's good.
He should be good. Alright, so coming up in Denador Mountains, you already saw it really quickly. He's saving again there. Very smart move, actually.
Yeah, I saw someone in the race do that. I like that a lot.
So he saved, and then the game put him on top of the mountain, even though, you know, you shouldn't be able to clip there. But when the game reloads, it actually doesn't really remember, you know, where you were on. It just remembers your location, so it just puts you on top of it if you reload in that specific spot, which obviously you shouldn't be able to do, but yeah. From here, after the reload, which is a mash load, they will have to perform a very specific actions in the first battle here, depending on their damage roll, and then, of course, get through Denador without getting into an encounter to retain the RNG for the boss fight, which is one of the most difficult things about this run. Kehanort, with a slight slip up there, has to reload again. That's not a big deal.
Shoot.
He saved enough time on Zumbor skip to, you know, have this one.
I don't think that logic works if you're behind.
He got this. He got this. I don't think that's right. It is. It
hammer?
is.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, no, it's the hammer one. Yeah, yeah. So there's two outcomes for that fight. Depending on how fast you load it, it's very finicky, and that is the bad outcome. It can cost you a little bit of time. You get on the same RNG regardless, of course, but yeah, you have to get hammered essentially.
Yeah.
For that one.
That's my cousin.
Alright, Redslash already through. I didn't see if Red got fast buried or not, unfortunately.
No, I think he just had the Luca attack run away. Ooh, cutting that close. That was awesome.
Yeah, both are definitely playing very, very well. Aside from Red choking that Zombor, but I mean... There's that. Okay, and the reason why we anticipate this very boss fight here we're going to have Chrono Berserk, and if you know this game, you know, hold on a second, you want to have Chrono Berserk for this very boss fight, but Chrono is very essential to, you know, make the boss not be stupid, because the boss, I mean, the first part here is very simple. You just damage one of the twins here for a little bit, and eventually the fight will be over. The second part of the boss, which is they are going to combine into one giant big mass immune, the boss will eventually charge up an attack, and in order to cancel out that attack, which hurts normally, you would have to slash him, but with Chrono Berserk we can obviously not do that. Fortunately, the power of scripting makes it possible that we will actually never see that charge up attack if everything goes right.
Yeah. Yeah, he changes phases to his second phase, which starts with a bunch of punches again, after you've dealt half his HP and damage. So, the Berserker plus a bunch of nicely timed attacks are going to do that. I think Redslash is going for the fire punches. Represent.
Indeed. Man, I'm really scared when I look on Kehanort's screen and it just flashes. Yeah, you know.
I think it might just be the cap not being able to handle like large flashes of all white screen.
Probably, yeah. Alright, everything's looking in order on Red's side here. Same with Kehanort, so both players so far still where they want to be. And Kehanort definitely caught up through that Zombor a little bit, like his time deficit was definitely a bit bigger before this part of the game, so...
Yeah. These guys are on the same boss fight at the same time. So the big thing with this boss fight, at least for the scripts that are out there, there's two differing ones. We're actually seeing them on both players. Is that most of your inputs need to be made during animations. The way that Masamune moves around, if you are early opening your menu or late inputting your attack, there's a chance that he might slip further than he's intended to move, and his targeting isn't just based on RNG, it's based on proximity. So he can actually change target, and based on the HP values here, you don't want that to happen. So yeah, the script that Kehanort's doing, where instead of just doing fire punches, he's splitting the fire punches up with fire and rocket punch. The animation times actually are kind of a wash. They basically take the same amount of time, but by timing the attacks a certain way, you're actually able to skip one punch off of Masamune in the end, and that saves about 3 to 4 seconds.
Yep, and this looks like the fight went perfectly too. Didn't need to wait for Luca in the menu. Got fast robo ATB, everything in order. Alright, and Kehanort's going to finish up the fight here, effectively saving another 4 seconds on Redslash. Very nice. This is especially good for Kehanort because Kehanort used to struggle a lot with this, especially in races. But it's nice to see that, you know, he got very good and consistent with it, so that's very, very awesome. And yeah, the deficit is less than a minute, so... very close race still.
Yeah, we're basically having a couple force news away from being tied again.
Very smooth menu by Redslash there. We also...
holding start during that to get his inputs quicker? That's insane.
I mean, that's what I do.
I guess I'm just bad.
You got the practice room. You can practice that. It's not that hard. But yeah, we do have to sell a lot of stuff, not only to get some items that we need in order to, you know, survive a couple battles here and there. Tonics are very good to heal. Mid-tonic specifically. Nice new. Kappa new. But yeah, with the unequip glitch, again, it only works if you don't have any armor in your inventory that people can equip. So in order to set up that we can unequip characters that will join us in the future, we will actually have to sell all of our items here.
Redslash, man, that movement, the perfect group up right after the right into the cutscene.
All right, redeemed himself for his lumber skip. I'm not gonna let it go. Alright, well, there's a chance to meet a new hero. It's 1 in 8, right?
Yeah, it's about 1 in 8. Someone was actually telling me earlier today that there's actually 2 dice rolls that come up for the new. And one is just slightly more likely if you are leaving from Frog's hideout than entering through the main exit or main entrance.
I see. Okay. Well, 1 new so far then. We have 1 for Kehanort. Bliss.
Yeah, these players are getting pretty much the same RNG. I like how Frog just kind of stomps over to the other side of the room.
Just getting like here. I'm not looking. Steal my sword. Or piece of sword. Alright, both runners got 1 new. Which means they will have equally good luck.
Yeah, the next section has some tight skips, and it really comes down to like solid execution. There's a bunch of fade outs and a couple that'll actually cost you a bit of time. Well, 1 main fade out, but you really don't want to hear Kino talk about the story at all.
Oh no. Alright, so what Redslash did there, he went to Melchior. You have to talk to him. We can fight him out though, so we don't actually have to listen to him. And yeah, he will actually tell you, you know, you have to get a very special mineral or a very special stone that doesn't exist anymore. So what you do, of course, afterwards is go into the very distant past, and you'll get thrown into these fantastic Reptide battles once you get out of the gate. Ooh, Redslash missing the text box skip here. Choking, I tell you. So the way these reptiles work is actually kind of funny, because usually enemies just work based off on the RNG you are on, but these reptiles also operate depending on when you close the second text box. So usually what you want to do is to wait until the reptile just touches the right edge of the screen and then press the text box, and they will line up for a slash there to kill 2 with 1 slash. But yeah,
there's
kind
a
of
bunch
funky.
of micro positions that they can be in because they're running left and right across the screen. So once you actually initiate the battle, they're facing different directions when they get to their position in the battle, and that can throw their actual like movement AI off based on the way they're facing.
Nice double slash.
Yeah, double slash can be a little scary because Luca's the next person to be attacked on pretty much on anything that could happen, because we know the RNG window we're in, and Luca's the person who's going to be chosen to get attacked. But she can dodge sometimes, based on how the first fight went. But if she dies, she loses out on quite a bit of experience.
Oh yeah. Shouldn't Robo be in this fight? Well, you would think so. Unfortunately, as cool as Laser Spin is, and as fast as the fights go through that, Robo does have quite the amount of extra dialogue here. So
raw boot?
Yeah. You would think it would still save time, but it doesn't. Unfortunately. Oh, you can one-shot these guys with Laser Spin, don't worry about that, but yeah.
There's a couple choices in the run that are merely to like swap characters just to save on dialogue.
Yeah.
Like, for example, having Robo in your party when you pick up the broken part of the Messamine in Frog's Lair is a lot slower because he stands there and does nothing for like 5 seconds while he computes where he thinks the sword's going to be, where the girls just catch on right away. Kehanort naming Ayla nothing? Just a blank. Yeah. Not too happy about that, to be honest. Ayla deserves more than that.
So very important, you talked about party swapping. Very important that before the party here, you do swap in Robo for Marl, because it's way faster to have that in place. With Robo, you just have to talk to him once, then he'll do like some weird dancing and walking around there, and then after that, you gotta talk to him again, and you know, the party's over. With Marl in the part, if you had Marl with you, she would start dancing, and you would actually have to watch her start dancing, which takes quite a long amount of time.
Yeah, that's how all my friends know when the party's over. I just stand there and start blinking. So Redslash mashed his way through the soup. And we're gonna go pick up Ayla, get her in our party. She's well above the stats of anyone else here because we haven't really leveled. We've skipped most of the boss fights, which are the main source of experience. And since she's the newest member of the party, she's going to be the highest level, highest HP, most potential damage. I'm going to leverage that as much as possible. It's pretty interesting. If it wasn't for the damage boost from the unequipped glitch being so powerful, Luca wouldn't even be a consideration for this fight. We'd be using Robo, maybe with a Berserk on him as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Guaranteed. I guarantee you that. As a glitchless runner, I guarantee you that you would use Robo.
And it's really interesting in the speedrun too, because that gives the US version an edge over the Japanese version. Even though the Japanese version has faster text. So it kind of depends on what category you're running. I think for this category, the US version is faster. Actually, no, I think the Japanese version was still faster, but it's like a couple seconds apart. But for like a 100% game, the damage boost is pretty strong. So apparently Redslash got good RNG.
No, got RNG. I think I think he got the one where the dude dug a hole to the elixir or something. I don't know.
Oh, wow. Someone needs to script that out. Just so that if it happens...
See the frame. Get the elixir for any %. Easy. Alright, so I think everything went according to plan, even though Chrono's on 1 HP. I don't know how I feel about that.
Alright, we see a 34 and a slash Kehanort. So everything's going to be going well for him too.
Yeah. Alright, it's coming up to the next boss fight here, which is going to be Nizbel. And DD already mentioned that, Ayla is pretty strong relative to, the other party members at this point. So we put the Berserker on her here for this first battle specifically. And it is pretty much scripted out that she will get the maximum amount of crits that we can hope for. The key to this battle is the start of the battle here. You don't want to do like the lightning, you don't want to mash it. You want to wait a little bit and then cast it just before Nisba would go. And that enables you as well to put in the fire for Luca here. And from here, yeah, you're pretty much going to see a bunch of crits followed by 1 or 2 attacks from the other characters. Nisbel, essentially you have to lower Nisbel's defense with lightning before you can damage him. So yeah, and if this fight goes perfectly, you will only see the release once. And in the next cycle, we should already be able to kill him.
Yeah, I was thinking the other day, and I think the fight that Redslash is going for versus the old fight, it doesn't matter if your crits are shifted by 1, whereas the older fight, if your crits were shifted by 1 because you were slow running away in the previous fight, it would matter, because Ayla, one of her attacks would be a crit when his defense was still up.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't matter. I played around with it. It doesn't matter right now.
Yeah, 420 some odd damage is pretty insane for this point in the game.
Ooh, he used lightning. I think he wasn't sure about something here. Did he get... No, that's correct, right? Yeah, should be. I wonder why he's...
Yeah, he must have thought he was low on damage somewhere.
Interesting. See, I think on Kehanort's end it looks pretty much perfect as well. Not too far behind still. Maintaining the distance roughly. So, still a very open race here.
Alright, so coming back, the enemies are still here, so we have to just force our way into a fight. And by running into the top of these guys, we get the upper fight, which unblocks the way, and we can make our way through very easily. You gotta be sure to hit the top. If you hit the bottom, you just fight them on their own. And you still have to get into and run away from the Kiwala fight, too.
Kehanort got an extra attack at the end here. He did input the lightning a little bit too early at the start of the battle. That's why it matters. If you input the lightning at the start of the battle early here for Nisbel, you will end up not getting your last turn that you're supposed to before Nisbel releases lightning for the second time.
Yeah, it's weird and finicky like that.
So there's a little bit of time lost. The good news is that it doesn't matter for RNG. He's still good on that end, so...
Yeah. Yeah, you got a pretty large window here. In fact, this is the largest of the windows possible to load into, I believe.
Oh yeah. Alright, and then we see another fade out for Melchior, who's going to restore the Mass Immune. Now, if you played the game casually, you know that normally one of either Luca or Robo are supposed to help Melchior here. But the game defaults to Robo, and if you switch your party members to have Marl and Luca in there, and you fade it out, then the game will think, hey, the robot's supposed to be here, so the other two are not going to do anything. And the cutscene just works out like that. Nobody's going to do anything but Melchior, and makes the cutscene a lot faster.
Strangely, no soft lock.
It will put Robo into your party afterwards, though.
Yeah.
Because he helped, right?
Yeah, the reason I'm saying strangely no soft lock, there's some brokenness to this game that you don't really see in most speedruns. And you can trigger a lot of cutscenes with different party members than you're supposed to have, and oftentimes the game will just completely lock up. Kehanort doing the same thing here. I still remember the day when a runner mentioned that we should fade out to the basement and not fade out to the outside and then run into the basement. We all kind of collectively just like hit our heads and be like, obviously that's how you're supposed to do that. Alright, unfortunately, third chance for new was a fail for Redslash.
That's okay. He's ahead, so he doesn't need the news.
Yeah. So we're on to the first of two frog cutscenes. If you're worried about like missing something, now's the time to go to the bathroom or grab a snack. Both players are just going to be mashing through text for the next couple minutes, and it's a good time to just stretch your legs, stay hydrated.
Very important.
But for the true keeners, this is the part where you mash harder than your opponent and save about 3 seconds. Yeah, nice bird skip from Kehanort. This is the one that counts the most. Out of all the bird skips in the run, that's the one that you have to hit, otherwise you are required to save and reload. So Cyrus learned when he was a kid that when you poke frogs, stuff comes out. There we go. Hero's badge. That's why I mentioned it early, Kyle. We're coming up on the actual meta cutscene where Frog cuts a mountain in a cutscene. Redslash is ahead for currently. He's ahead by about 1.5 minutes, maybe a little bit more because of the Nisbel fight. And there's 3 more boss battles and a bunch of really tight skips coming up. So it still could be anyone's game. Like, any mistake for Redslash at this point is going to cost about 1 minute plus. Alright, so we're going to get a chance to ditch the mediocre character and bring in the awesome character.
Mediocre, you say?
Maybe that's a little hasty.
Ha ha! I see what you did there.
But you gotta admit, Robo's pretty badass for Magus' castle.
Yeah, I mean, mostly because honestly, most enemies. Hello.
What is
are
going
we
on?
I don't know what. I gotta say hi to Fiona. I guess. What was I going to say? Yeah, it's mostly because magic is not that great against most random enemies, I would say.
I think Shadow is just one of the more like often able to damage an enemy type of magics. It's kind of an awkward way to word it, but
I mean,
like, it's not always.
The thing is, if you would teach frog magic and learn ice water, that would just obliterate everything as well. But, you know, gotta go for teach frog magic, which takes like forever. Instead, you got your robot and rocket roll ready to go.
Yeah. And the nice thing about rocket roll is it's a dual tech that scales strictly off of Robo's magic. So with the double unequip plus 20 magic, I think laser spin, the damage roll is like Robo's magic times 4, and then another new. The rocket roll is like Robo's magic times like 8 or 9. So it's a pretty big jump. Alright, poor frog.
Poor frog, you say?
But the hero medal just comes right to him. It's almost like it was fate. Is this the hand of the entity?
Who knows?
I'm ready. Are you guys ready? Thank you, chat. Alright, now all of a sudden the speed run begins almost immediately. We're buffering movements right now to make sure that we get into this battle as quickly as possible. That menu came up real quick. Yes, that's not on RNG.
Oh, hello. Hello, so Redslash needs to reload here. I wonder what happened in this spell fight that I didn't see.
Yeah, that was the last fight, right?
Yeah. He did use that lightning at the end, so I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah, that would only be a difference of like 1 or 2 RNG values. I didn't think it was that tight, was it?
I don't know. Is he going to demonstrate the 22 is good too? I don't know. Because he just like ran in now. It's confusing me.
He might be going for the slightly race safe, run up both sides, then save and reload.
I suppose if you miss that load, then you don't have to run up again.
But that load's so easy, like we were saying earlier. I'm not sure. Maybe he's just going for it.
We'll see. This definitely is a chance for Kehanort here. Either way.
Yeah, he's really not that far behind. So this is the eerie, quiet part of the game. Is Red going to pick up another mid-ether? Okay. Maybe he's going for no LSS.
I mean, should be the same battle. I don't know. Yeah, he's going out now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to have to reload.
They're basically in sync now.
Just high-fived. Yeah, this reload window is really, really huge, though. So,
yeah, it's over a second. It's really big.
Not even worried.
Alright, so this first fight, it's a real tough strategy. We're gonna get some enemies, and we're gonna rocket roll.
Alright, looks good to me.
Mm-hmm.
So the important thing here is, and how you can tell that you're correct, is that Frog gets hit by that Crimson Rain for 46, or alternatively 45 if you load it very early, but that is a tell that everything is going according to plan. Now we will have to quickly menu here before the next battle. Most notably, we want the Berserker on Frog, and we will also unequip his helmets. We do want to have the Ruby Vest that we stole from Ayla on him, though, because physical defense, for actually the first time ever, will come into play quite significantly in the second boss fight here. Not in this one, but the one after this.
Yeah.
Alright, good boss fight. Oh, wait.
Super easy. Yeah, the nice thing about the reload here is that since there's really 2 battles before you actually fight the next boss, Flea, the real Flea, it kind of helps to normalize your RNG, because your battle will always sort of jump to that thing, a couple things happen, and then you should end up roughly in the right window for the next fight. And once that happens twice, and Frog will always just Berserk attack the fake Flea, so that battle always goes the same way. We should always have the proper starting value for the Flea fight. Chrono gets slapped for 49, and Frog goes to town.
Yep. So this fight works kind of similarly to how we script Mass Immune, in a sense that so Flea targets just like Mass Immune based on proximity as well. And the really funny thing is that Frog and Flea are essentially the same speed, so whenever Frog damages Flea, Flea retargets, but also wasted the ATB at that exact same time, essentially. It's kind of a funky combination of these two things that make it work right here, so that Flea doesn't actually attack. This will eventually break, like, and at the end of the battle we do have to do some extra damage, so there's that. But normally Flea would be one of the most annoying bosses in the game. If you've ever played the randomizer of this game, yeah. But with this specific strategy here, absolutely no issue.
Yeah, last attack, victory. Now the issue, or actually lack of issue for Redslash right now, Flea needs to go pretty much perfectly, because the next fight with the Decedents, those enemies wander and move around very, very randomly. So without having an exact seed for the beginning of that fight, Redslash hugging the skeleton, it looks like. Yeah, without having the exact proper seed before the beginning of this fight, they'll move in a way that we won't be able to kill them to have the proper crit settings for the next fight. Like, their movement's just so volatile. But right here, Chrono's able to slash both. And it always works out with the way that the Flea fight goes. Right.
Alright, yeah. Kehanort is right there, though. He's already moving over as well.
Well, I don't think Kehanort talked to Fiona or hugged the skeleton.
That's true. So again, for the first time ever, physical defense actually is quite significant for this battle. Slash mainly operates on physical attacks. So having the Ruby Vest on Frog actually saves you a bit of a hassle here, even when we script it, simply because Frog can take 1 or 2 more hits than he normally would if both items would be unequipped. And plus, quite frankly, he only really needs 1 item unequipped because he doesn't have any magic, but yeah. So the script for this is reasonably simple. It's set up in a way, essentially, like logically, that Frog gets the maximum amount of crits here throughout both battles, essentially. So Chrono and Robo is only really attack whenever they need to, you know, progress the value in order for Frog to get the next crit. More or less, how it works out.
Fallen on the dagger of the non-crit attack, so that our most powerful character can get as many crits as possible. Alright, starting this second phase with such low health is a little scary, but luckily we get Frog's first attack to help us heal. So the other nice thing about the Berserker is they'll attack instantly, and you'll normally have Chrono's turn up because he already has like really good speed. And you're able to make your choice of attacks during Frog's attack animation, so you don't really lose any time because of ATB being on wait. In a full game run, we use a similar strategy on Black Tyranno so that we can keep battle speed on 1 and not let Black Tyranno get ahead of us on turns and damage. Yeah, dealing almost 400 damage with the crit is very insane. Berserker will basically take your damage and multiply it by 1.5. It also does the same thing to your defense at the very low cost of losing control of your character. And on these single target bosses, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, because essentially you keep control. That's the thing, like, if you script it anyways, you still have control, essentially.
The other nice thing about the Berserker is it sneaks in. Like, it has priority since it's not like a choice or an action, it's just another battle event. It's, like, almost closer to the ATB than, like, an input that you would make in the menu. And he's able to get turns off, like... If you noticed earlier in the fight, Chrono attacked before Chrono attacked before Frog's turn was up, but the Berserker was able to attack before Chrono's attack animation actually happened. So you're actually able to cheat a little bit of ATB. Easy peasy.
Yep, right, got through it. Easy. 137.33 slash kill, so I'm gonna check what Kehanort's time is going to be. It's not going to be too far off.
Yeah, Frog's in his string of 5 crits right now for Kehanort, so yeah, the battle's close to over. Yeah, you notice that the health was super tight at the end of that, and that's really like the biggest bonus of RNG manipulation, is that you don't need to spend any turns to heal that aren't absolutely critical. Like, Chrono used 3 mid-tonics in that fight, and that was basically to heal up from the previous fight, and then just 1 other mid-tonic during the entire rest of the fight. So all your turns are spent attacking, and you can kill the boss before he gets more attacks on you. So it's this really fine line with spreading your damage out enough that you don't have to heal at all, essentially. But even on the Magus fight coming up, there's going to be a little bit of healing, even within the manipulation route. It'd be crazy if we could get a no-heal Magus fight, actually.
Alright, so both runners are actually exactly a minute apart.
Wow, that's a nice catch up from Kehanort. Redslash get it? No. Just going for the quick guillotines, but the setup for it's a little fickle. Don't move when you're on the rollies, and you're okay.
Yep. Very good movement there. Beating that rolly to the corner is...
Yeah, that was very good. Are we actually going to see the rolly push? Wow.
Easy. Easy, dude. Like, this game is free.
How does he do it so consistently, man? That's...
Yeah. So, the second skip of the bird there is actually... It's pretty damn precise because, I mean, you don't have, like, a small control over it, but it's really, really hard to actually get the rolly to move in a way where he actually pushes the bird for you, so, yeah.
That and then required 2 perfect skips before it in order to even have a chance at doing it.
Yeah. Alright, Kehanort moving to the trapdoor room. Very nice. Also getting through. But yeah, Red's Magus Castle has been pretty damn perfect so far.
Oh, are we gonna see it again?
No.
Oh
yes! Oh my... Whoa! Holy moly. Alright.
Ladies and gentlemen, regardless of the outcome, this is some high-level Chrono Trigger play.
I really thought that wouldn't work because of the way the bird moved, but man, he made it work.
Alright, yeah, these jugglers, you just have to keep track of how you're attacking them. It's important that that you don't accidentally attack too much. Or, like, do the wrong type of attack on the wrong one, because you're just going to cost yourself 2 extra attacks later on, more turns, and probably an attack on your party members. And any attack here on anybody except for Luca means that you're going to have to shelter before the Magus fight. Because it's actually pretty crazy to think about, but after the shelter from Slash, you make it through the rest of Magus's castle on the same health pool, and you can fight and kill Magus without having to shelter. Alright. Starting with an 18. So this is another instance of the RNG getting funneled. You've got a pretty wide window entering into these last couple fights in Magus's castle. Nice frog. But these 4 fights here will kind of funnel each other down, so there's only really 4 possible starting values for entering the Magus fight after fighting all of these fights. And the 119 hit on the last switch is the indicator we're looking for, that we have the right window and we're good to go. Looks like we're gonna see a shelter, just to be sure.
Just to be safe.
I don't know, Kehanort's right there, man.
Yeah. And I mean, with the swag, Redslash dropped left and right. I mean, Kehanort's been able to pick up time here and there.
Yeah, there's a reason that both these players are number 1 and number 2 on the 80% leaderboard. Times below 2 hours 30 minutes is incredibly impressive.
Indeed.
Both these players, even with the mistakes that each have sort of done, they're both on par for sub 150, low 150s.
Kehanort just going for it. No shelter, no safe. Let's roll.
I'd agree with that. The last really bit of time that he can make up is if Redslash messes up the second phase of Magus and has it be slower.
Yep. All right. So,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to just quickly explain what we're going to see here. So the first phase, Magus has 2 phases. First phase is about 2000 HP. He changes his berry every time you attack him, essentially, and then you have to hit him with that spell. It's been routed out or scripted that we use Shadow, Shadow, Lightning, Lightning here. So if you see another spell, that's not good. You shouldn't, but if you do, you are free to start to panic. Starting to panic.
Yeah, especially if it's fire. If it's fire, close your eyes for a second.
Yeah.
Like we said earlier, the unequipped does not protect us from fire.
Indeed. Now, the cool thing about the mass immune for this specific battle is, again, normally if you attack Magus, he changes barrier, no matter what. The mass immune, though, the first time you attack him with that per his cycles, it will actually lower his magic defense significantly, which will allow us to deal a lot more damage with this spell we cast afterwards. And Kehanort's right there, dude. Alright, last lightning barrier for Redslash. After that, it's going into phase 2.
Yeah. We're going to see him try and get 3 slashes while Magus' defense is still down before he goes into his barrier phase. Because he still has to wait for his turn to come up, and his defense is still down. There, now the slash isn't quite as effective as it was before, but it still does quite a bit of damage. So we're just kind of holding off on Robo. His Rocket Punch is pretty powerful, but not as powerful as the other attacks, so we're basically trying to save time on animations. But we will do an attack with Robo here and there just to ensure that Frog gets the max amount of crits.
Ooh.
Oh, we see some ices on Kehanort's side. That's no good.
Yeah, this is where you start to panic. Frog died.
Nice.
Frog died at some point.
Does he still have a helmet on, maybe?
No. I don't think so. Shadow, easy. Easy backup. I think... Did he take damage somewhere, maybe? I don't know.
What?
What are you doing, Kehanort?
He's on Shadow Barrier. And Magus is down on Redslash's side.
Perfect. Didn't see a second Dark Matter. That's a GG. Timing ends for this specific category once Magus kneels. And we have the official SRO race time from Redslash, which is going to be a 1:49.12. GG.
Yeah, that's an awesome time. Got the sub 150 and visited Fiona at the same time.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened on Kehanort's side here.
Alright, now's your shot. Use that lightning. Yeah, this is kind of a demonstration of how this fight is if you are not manipulating RNG. Even if you were to go get Frog Magic, there's still... Oh no, fires.
This is gonna hurt. Close your eyes! Ah, it wasn't that bad.
Let's just get him out of this phase.
The entry barrier, the reason this category that has been chosen for the tournament is the entry barrier for new players is reasonably low.
Frog just pushed him.
Nice.
So it was just at the very end. Jeez.
So we're gonna see probably 2 Dark Matters here, but yeah.
Yeah, the real issue with falling off it just before he switches phases is you're not getting the triple attack in with the defense still down.
Mm-hmm.
But Kehanort is safe now. He just has to make it through this last little bit, and he's got the health now. Yeah, the quick glitch really trivializes the dark matter attack. The fire barrier was the scary one. Oh man.
Yep. Fortunately, Frog does have the Ruby Vest, which cuts fire damage in half. That's a bit of a redeeming factor there, but yeah.
I think we may be joined by a wild Redslash.
Hey, what's up?
How's it going, man?
Good, good.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. That was a pretty sick race. Hey, did you see in the Reptile lair when that guy at the very beginning did the dig, dug a hole?
I didn't see it, but Magus pointed it out.
Okay. Yeah, he got out of my way, so I didn't have to go around him. That's what won the race, I'd say.
I would personally say that, you know, visiting Fiona was definitely what made it, actually.
Could be. But yeah. I visited Fiona in my first race too, so now I'm committed.
It's tradition.
Yeah, too late. It's too late to undo.
Alright, Kehanort also finishing up here. 1:53:25 is the final time. GG to Kehanort, putting up a very good fight here. Yeah, and I hope Kehanort joins us because I want to know what went wrong there. I didn't see it. And there he is, Kehanort, GG.
Hey, GG.
So, yeah. First of all, let's have Red talk a little bit about the race. Red, how do you feel in general about the whole race?
I didn't think it was too bad of a run for me. I don't know how I fell off RNG from Nizbel, like just by doing the lightning in the wrong order, or the final slash rather. So that was odd, but I hit a lot of tricks I didn't expect to hit because I didn't practice as much as I wanted to. But yeah. Yeah, I had fun.
Yeah, that Nispel thing, I noticed that, and I was a bit irritated by that, and then it actually put you off RNG, which was kind of curious, but yeah. Yeah, definitely very solid run. I mean, 149 with a couple of things that went not so ideal, and a couple of Easter eggs that you build into your run that is definitely very respectable right there.
Oh yeah, Zombor. Yeah, Zombor was a joke there. I don't know how I missed it so many times. It's like,
Yeah.
wow. But
Yeah.
well.
So yeah, Kehanort, GG to you as well. This was a very, very close race for the longest time. It was really unfortunate that you lost the RNG because of no power taps in the prison, which actually made the gap of like about a minute happen. But that gap, that was essentially the gap throughout the race. You kept saving time, losing a little bit of time, and it was close the entire time. So how do you feel about the race in general?
Yeah, I don't know. Like after I missed the power tap, because my accurate skip time was so good, even with the safety save, I knew there was something wrong with it. But you know, I hoped nothing happened and didn't safety save anyway, and that went so wrong. And after that, I was a little bit demoralized. And but I think the rest went pretty well. I expected to save a little bit of time in the acid alkaline fight, but my RNG was as terrible as Redslash's.
Yeah.
Machine gun ones.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
we
had really bad fights. Oh.
You both did hit the top bug. And that was really impressive.
Oh, sick! Nice.
And you both also hit the rolly push on the Mega Staircase, which was really awesome to see.
Yeah, Magus Castle was actually perfect for me, except for Magus himself.
Yeah, I didn't actually see what went wrong there. I just saw Frog die, or did, as Redslash finished, and I was like, huh? Something's not right here. And then the barrier changed. I don't know.
I used mid-tonic on Chrono instead of Frog in the
Oh, okay. Now that would do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Dang. But yeah, strong time. Either way, you know. I really enjoyed racing you, man. And
yeah, it was,
I guess I'll probably face you again.
Yeah. I'll have a Monster Losers run. Just wait for me.
Well, I'll meet you in the losers bracket.
Yeah, I mean,
mid-finals.
Your next opponent is either going to be Magus or Kitoxia. So you've got some work cut out for your Redslash.
Sounds free to me, honestly, if you ask me, but I don't know.
Oh man, let's see. I gotta pull up the bracket here. But, is there anything scheduled after us? Are we... It's... Oh dear. I don't see if we're going overtime or not. But anyway. Yeah, I'm excited for the rest of the tournament, and I don't have much more to say.
Yeah, great race, guys. It was a very fun commentating, and honestly, that was very... I mean, there was a couple of hiccups in the runs, but the execution was just on point from both of you. So very well done.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to watch, guys.
Yeah, thanks for commentating, guys.
Yeah, thank you. And I want to say shoutouts to Cyclone as well, Speed Gaming staff. He's been really working hard with us on the tournament. So I want to just let him know I appreciate him. And all you guys are watching, and yeah, I'll catch you next time.
Definitely. All right, and we'll wrap it up for us here. For the time being, for the Chrono Trigger tournament, we have a strong continuation on this Saturday. There's 3 matches scheduled for Saturday. There could potentially be matches earlier, but we'll need to see how they come in whenever the runners schedule them. But Saturday, there's 3 matches starting on 4 p.m. Eastern, and going onwards, there's going to be a lot of Chrono Trigger action. So stay tuned for that. Other than that, DD, it was a pleasure commentating with you. I had a lot of fun.
Likewise.
And yeah, I don't know where speed gaming will send you, but I'm sure it's somewhere good. Until then, until next time, cheers. Stay classy.